Macedonia 150 here, and this is a video response to, well, sort of, I guess, to Scott's game reviews on top 10 PS1 games. So let's just get on with it. So let's start some honourable mentions. Right, so we've got pretty much all the Namco light gun games on the PS1. I've played these, a lot of these. I mean, Point Blank 1, Point Blank 2, Point Blank 3. Ghoul Panic, which was not actually developed, which is not part of the Point Blank series, but plays like it as boss fights, and is in 3D. Time Crisis, Project Titan, and the one that was only released in Europe, and that was actually 100% in uncredited. That game on the hardest difficult. This one talk about, called Rescue Shot, which was never sold in the US for some reason. Yeah, so. Other games that yeah, definitely have memories of the PS1. Think of light gun games. Strange enough to do for the PS2 as well. Well, anyway, so like some other honourable mentions that are not light gun games. So Street Fighter Alpha 03. I just got that wrong though. It's called Street Fighter Alpha 3 or 0. Oh, it's called 03 in Japan, isn't it? Yeah, I remember playing quite a bit. That was definitely the fighting game we used to play the most on the PS1. The Digimon World games and Digimon Rumble Arena. Yeah, they got a lot of play actually. Completed all 3 of those on the Digimon World games on the PS1. Skull Monkeys. That's one you're not going to hear many people mention, but it was a claymation 2D platform game by the person who created from Jim, of all things, based off a sequel to a point and click game on the PC called Neverhood. Very strange game, but really fun to play. Very hard though. And Rayman 1, that was the very first game I ever got and played on the PS1, and yeah, that game is rock solid as well. And the last one, which is going to be a really weird choice to pick, but I'm going to pick it anyway, and that's Pepsi Man. Yeah, Pepsi Man! Oh, Pepsi Man's an odd game. You play as a superhero, just collects Pepsi. That's it! Strangely enough, all the villains in the game are also, you guessed it, Pepsi cans. It's pretty weird. So yeah, oh yeah, and all the soundtracks just songs going Pepsi Man over and over again. It's hilariously weird. I think it's a Japanese only game, but where it gets weird is the entire game was in English. Yeah, entirely voiced in English with Japanese subtitles, so perfectly playable if you don't understand a single bit of Japanese. It's also pretty much a precursor to all these Infinite Runner games you get now, like Minion Rush and Temple Run. It pretty much plays just like them, but was made years before those things even existed. Right, so let's get on to the actual top 10 now. So number 10, the Unholy War. Most people don't. I'm not sure most remember this game, the Unholy War, but it was like a strategy game, cost of an action game, and it was an odd one. It was by Crystal Dynamics, and you basically played the two like races, and I never actually really liked the strategy mode in the game that much. I used to play the arcade mode where it was just like a versus match thing, and you just basically put a game on where every single character was available at once and just play as them all against another person. Oh, I remember Fire Witch being ridiculously overpowered because you could just float across the, just flying, barely hit when you were flying. And a robot with shoots buzzsaws out of his arms. It was definitely more fun having both teams on in one match, because then you could play as everyone. Really fun game, and well, there never was an actual real official sequel to it, but there was a game on the PS2 called Wrath Unleashed by LucasArts. It was played very similar to it, but had a more of a fantasy setting, but it didn't have the option where you could pick both teams at once. It just wasn't as much fun as Unholy War, unfortunately, even though it's literally just almost like a rip-off of it. Also, the Japanese version of Unholy War is not called that, and they turned it into a crossover with loads of old Japanese TV shows about magical girls like Sailor Moon. It was a very bizarre crossover. I mean, if you just look at the intro, the CGI, the cutscenes of both games, you never get a Japanese one. Was basically the same thing. And what's the interesting thing about it? The developer of it was called Toys for Bob, and they basically took lots of the ideas of the Unholy War and basically put them in, well, what the game they've been working on for the past few years, and that's got them into Skylanders, because they have pretty much the same mechanics and gameplay to them. So yeah, Skylanders is like sort of unofficial sequel to the Unholy War of all things. And that's why I like the series so much. Well, anyway, so yeah, number 9. Now this one was another one that I was sure might be, but Apocalypse. Yeah, this was a twin-stick shooter game by Neverhood. You know, the people who made the Tony Hawk games. You know, the good one for what people like, for the went crap. And this was a twin-stick shooter game with platform elements as well, where you played as Bruce Willis for some reason. Now, the character wasn't called Bruce Willis, but it looked like Bruce Willis, had Bruce Willis' voice. Supposed to be the original plan for this game was that he wasn't actually meant to play as Bruce Willis, but he's meant to be an AI partner in the game. So but then they made him the main character. So lots of his dialogue in the game doesn't make much sense. Just randomly shouts one-liners all the time. They rock the party, it's time to jam, and all these completely random things all the time. It's a really fun twin-stick shooter, and it's definitely still holds up today, and it's still really fun to play, and it's definitely worth playing still. Yeah, so number 8, Tetris Plus. Now, yeah, Tetris. I mean, yeah, this one's actually a part of an arcade game by Jellico. They actually did Tetris Plus 2, but never left arcades. Yeah, I played a ridiculous amount of time on Tetris Plus. I mean, it didn't have that many modes for a Tetris game. It's pretty much identical to the arcade version. But the main mode of this one is you're a little professor guy, and you have to basically get him to the bottom of the screen by clearing like lines. There were no like areas, you just fall down, and that'll be the end of the stage. And obviously, if you put a block in front of him, he'd climb it, and if he climbed up, and there were a big spike thing coming down, and if you touched that, you died. So you have to basically just clear enough area of the screen up to get him to the bottom of the screen. Interesting if the 3DS Tetris has a sort of similar idea to it. The very first one, not the crappy Ubisoft one. But that one you have to go up but climb a tower instead, but that's not as fun. But yeah, Tetris Plus, I mean, this is one of my favourite versions of Tetris. No one really talks about it, but yeah, right, so anyway, number 7, Poochie Carrot. I think that's how you pronounce it. This is another one which is another sort of a puzzle game by Taito. Yes, this one's also an arcade game, but the console version has extra content in it, not featured in the arcade version. But it's basically like Breakout. But the difference in Breakout is you have to like time your target shots and knock on the platform, knock like loads of bricks off the screen, and it flings over to the other player, and they have to get rid of it. And if you basically miss the ball, you get some extra rows, and you have to not reach the bottom, otherwise you die. In other words, it's a bit like, it's a puzzle game, but it's a Breakout clone at the same time. Really fun game, and the PS1 version is definitely the better version, better than the arcade version of it. It's only because there's a few different settings for like objects and stuff, and probably one of the most interesting, important things for me is it has a feature where you can actually catch the ball every time you land it, so not like you're bouncing it. It makes the game considerably easier, which is in the arcade version. Anyway, number 6, Buster Move 4. Oh, Puzzle Bobble 4. Yep, another Taito arcade part. Yeah, this is definitely one of the most played puzzle games on the system. I mean, this part had a load of stuff in it. I mean, you could edit create your own stages in it. There was actually 8 more characters in this version that was not in the arcade version. You have to unlock them, but they're not very difficult to unlock. Another great. You've played. I think this is still my favourite in the series. It's definitely the best for the multiplayer, in my opinion, for the series, for one simple reason. You've got 16 different characters in the game. Yeah, 8 unlockables, but all the other ones had less than that. So, as a multiplayer versus game, yeah, this is Busted Move Falls, one of my favourite, and perfectly fine to play as a single player one too. Right, so next one. Now, I'm not going to go too far into these ones because I've already done a video talking about them before when I did my PlayStation memory, so the top 5 is the same as before, so I'm going to go through these ones quick. Right, so number 5, Monster Rancher, which is technically Monster Rancher 2 if you live anywhere else in the world, but in Europe it's called Monster Rancher. Yeah, this one you put music CDs into the game and it created the game. It created a monster in it and you played it. It didn't, so yeah, it's like a Pokemon-like game, but it doesn't play like Pokemon. It plays more like a Tamagotchi, like virtual pet-like thing, where you need to rank up, like keep training its stats, but then go into tournaments to fight other monsters, which then you get your rank up, which unlock new monsters and all that. Never beat the game fully %. Well, actually, I did see the credits, I think, but I never unlocked everything because I couldn't because the game glitched out on me too much. But anyway, so number 4, Select 100, also known as Desaimon Kids Extra Disc 2. Yeah, this is a game I just got by pure luck, and you notice there's a lot of videos on my channel of this thing. I'm doing a project at the moment on my channel showing footage of all the games on this disc, and it's still being done. From this video onwards, there's going to be 17 videos of it, at least. I have 102 on the disc, and I'm still going to get through them all, so yeah. It's just a bunch of space shooters on a disc, that's really the best description for it. To be honest, I mean, they're not the most amazingest games in the world, but I just really like them. Number 3, and Net Yarozo Hall of Fame. Now, this one's hard to explain, a bit hard to explain as well. I mean, Net Yarozo's an odd one. It was like a black PS1, which was region 3, which you could develop your own games on it. Which might sound bizarre, but that's what you could do. And these were basically the games people developed in it, and I got published on the official PlayStation magazine demo disc. So this is on actually, yeah, so this is actually technically on a demo disc. But it has full games on it. And about, I think there's about 15 or 16 on it. And I must have played some of these games on this more than I actually played some of the disc games. Yes, crazy. The demo disc has Metal Gear Solid on the front cover of it, so if you want to look for it, that's what it is. Number 2, Bishi Bashi Special. This is a game I actually remember. Now this is like a bit like a WarioWare like game. It's actually made of like a few years before WarioWare one, but it's one of them mini game like collections. Completely weird, random Japanese, my sort of kind of humour and all that. And yeah. And number 1 is G Darius. Now I doubt this will be anyone else's top one, but this is pretty much one of my favourite space shooters of all time. I just love this game, everything about it, the graphics, the music, the soundtrack, all that. It's just a great game. But yeah, with these top 5 I'll go into a bit more detail in my PlayStation Memories video, which I'll put a link to in the description. Well anyway, so thank you for watching and listening.